Our conversation this morning at the moment is going to be on the Africa peer review mechanism, specifically on Nigeria's second peer review. We know that sometime in 2008, the first peer review was actually done, and it's almost time for the second one. I'm being joined on the program by the former Senate President and the Chairman, National Steering Committee on Nigeria's second peer review, Ken Nnamani. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
And then I also have a resource person with the National Steering Committee on Nigeria's second peer review, Professor Adele Jinadu. Professor Jinadu, thank you also for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Well, let's just get an understanding of the peer review mechanism. Could you shed some light on the concept and its significance?
I think it was the German Chancellor who said that the APRM is Africa's innovative thinking on governance. And the idea is to move Africa forward against the background of what happened in the 1960s, 70s, 80s with authoritarian rule, political centralization, and to now build governance and development on a new concept of partnership in which the people themselves would own the development process. And the idea is to set benchmarks and to monitor progress towards the benchmarks, to identify weaknesses and strengths, and to see how we can move Africa together. And the monitoring and assessment is done in terms of four areas: democracy and political governance, economic management and governance, corporate governance, and socio-economic development.
Okay, so let's bring it, back to our own situation. Nigeria is going to do its second peer review. It's done the first one, and some issues were actually highlighted. So could you just, run us through how this is supposed to help, the review process?
Well, you see, after the first review, you have periodic reports submitted by the government to the APRM Forum of Heads of State and Government.
And that's periodic. You mean how many?
Every 6 months.
6 months.
And then it's a yearly report. And the idea is to now see the progress you are making towards the recommendations that were made in the country review report. And when they assessed Nigeria in 2008, that was the base review. And they identified some strengths in our governance and development progress, like our role in Africa in terms of peacekeeping, our federal character clauses, and how we manage diversity. Nollywood, for it, in fact, see, this is a major innovation that ought to be. But they also identified weaknesses which we need to move ahead to elections.
Exactly, and I'm going to come to you, Senator Nnamani, to take that up for us. You're the chairman of the National Steering Committee, and the maiden review identified some governance gaps, just like Professor Jinadu has highlighted, especially in the area of electoral and public service reforms, constitutional amendments, and affirmative action on women. Have these been addressed?
Well, to a large extent, Nigeria seems to have made quite a lot of progress in the area of our electoral process. Because prior to this time, take for instance 2007 general elections, it was adjudged the worst in our history. But subsequently, with the present administration, the concept of one person, one vote, it appears to me that people are beginning now to enjoy casting their ballot, knowing that it will count, and the ballot papers will be counted. In other words, our country is now beginning to use ballots instead of bullets, and I hope that continues. Well, the gaps we talked about, it is possible that we have not done well in all areas, particularly in the area of controlling corruption in the economy. It appears that we have not done as well as we should have done, given our performance in the electoral process, which the whole world seems to be acknowledging that our country has made substantial progress. Our fight against corruption, which tends to take away the resources from the economy, it has not been very robust. And it is part of the things that have been addressed by the present administration.
Okay, so now, when you put all this, you put your reports together, You know, the issue always hasn't been getting the reports together. It's always been about implementing these reports and the suggestions that will actually be put forward when your committee submits its report. Now, do we have the right structures in place to drive the outcome of the peer review?
Yes, we do, because the structure of the National Steering Committee itself it drives from the entire sectors of our economy. In the peer review committee are people from various sectors, like the civil societies, the people from the academics, people from National Assembly, a host of people are the members of the steering committee, and it goes across all sections of our polity. It's all inclusive, has nothing to do with political party. And yes, I may belong to a party, but I'm not speaking for the party here.
Okay, but then do you have the political will to ensure that all the suggestions that are actually what we need to do is done?
Of course, it's not just me as an individual, but there's what you call, there's a book called Planning Without Facts. if we as we are trying to update the first report, remember, as the professor said, in 2008, Nigeria underwent the peer review mechanism. Now, what this second peer review, one of the things is trying to achieve, is to update the report, the first report, and it will help in our national planning, to help in our economic development, it will help in stabilizing our polity. Because you see, I think it's a wonderful thing, as he mentioned, for Africa to have the opportunity of heads of state meeting and telling themselves, as peer, the peer review, of telling themselves, you have not done well in social and so area, you need to improve on this, you need to improve on that. You see, the worst lie any person can tell is the lie you tell yourself. And because since we are now undergoing, overseeing the process of self-assessment, which eminent persons from Africa will come and verify, authenticate whether we're actually saying the right thing or not. It is important that we know those weak areas, particularly since we are talking about democracy, the democratic governance. How far have we gone with it? How far is it helping, touching the lives of people?